Hello, boys and girls. Today we are going to create one of my favorite things to do, which is paper weaving. First thing you need to do is to take two different colors of paper. I'm using simple construction paper, and make sure they are the exact same size, like this. So it doesn't matter which one you take for the top, but you do need some type of tape. I'm going to be using masking tape. You can use painter's tape, scotch tape. It really doesn't matter. And what you're going to do with the tape is rip a piece to go across the top. So take your tape, put it perfectly at the top, right on the edge, and lay it flat, like this. Then you can take some scissors and snip off anything that is extra. All right, this is now the top of my weaving. All right, now in weaving, we are going to create what's called the warp. This is going to be the part where we weave the papers in and out. And for this step, you absolutely have to use a ruler. So take your ruler and place it super close to that tape. And make sure you are starting right at the correct spot, right at that 0 of your ruler, right here. Right, hold it really still, push hard on the ruler. And I find the best increments to use is 1/2 inch. And that means this big line between the 0 and the number, the one right in half. And you're going to make a little dash at that half mark and then go to the whole number and make another dash. Okay, so you do one at the half and then the number. Half, number, half, number, and go straight across your paper. Half, number, half, number, half, number, half, number, half, and then my number is right at the edge. Okay, now go to the bottom of your paper. Put your ruler right on the bottom little sliver. Line it up the same way we just did. And make the same marks at the half and then the whole number. And now this means we are marking out 1/2 inches. All right, here's my top little dashes, and here are my bottom. Okay, this next step is pretty easy. Make sure you can see. You're going to use your ruler, put your ruler the tall way, and make sure the side lines up with your first dash at the top and the side lines up with your bottom dash at the bottom. Okay, hold your ruler really tight. You don't want it to slide on you. So I'm going to be pushing really hard with my ruler, and I'm just going to draw a line down like that. And you're going to go across your paper to make these perfectly straight strips. So then I'm going to my second dash at the top, my second dash at the bottom. I'm pushing down on my ruler nice and tight, and I'm drawing a line. And I'm going to go right across my paper. I'm taking my time. I'm making sure my lines are nice and straight, and I'm following my dashes, just like this. So the next step is very easy, but you want to make sure that you cut very straight, crisp lines. Start at the right, and right at the bottom of your first strip right here, cut right on that line. Try not to get any splintery edges, or that's really going to be problematic for you. And stop right at the masking tape. It's okay if you go a little bit in you just don't want to stop short. So I'm going to do my second one. Really straight on that pencil, all the way up. Take your time and cut your strip. So here it is. I went a smidge into my masking tape, and that is perfectly fine, and cut all of your strips. Okay, here is my warp. It looks like a beautiful hula skirt, and you can now set that aside and take your other piece of paper. Now this is so vital. You have to turn your paper now that it's the opposite direction. So if you see, this one is the tall way, okay? Now I'm holding my paper the long way, and you have to do that, okay? It's the long way now. Take your ruler, and for this step, we do not need any tape border at all. Line your ruler right at the top of your paper, just like this. I know you can't probably see the whole thing, but it's right at the top. And you are going to mark out the same 1/2 inch marks right across the top of your paper that is now held the long way. That is so important. I'm going right across the long way of my paper. Again, it's at the 1/2 inch marks. So I know it's dark, you can't really see it, but they're across the whole top of my 1/2 inch marks. Now I'm going to go at the bottom and do the same thing we just did. Hold it tight against the bottom, 1/2 inch marks. All right, so if you can see, the top has 1/2 inch and now the bottom has 1/2 inch. I probably should have used a lighter paper, but now you do what you did before, is take your ruler, hold it the tall way, line up the top dash with that bottom first dash, and do your strips and go right across, making sure your lines are even, that you're lining up the dash with the dash. Just like this. Okay, now it's time for the actual weaving. Take the paper that has no tape, the one you just did, and cut off one strip at a time, right on the paper, and cut it off all the way. And just do one at a time. You don't want to do all of them. It makes a big mess. So here is my first strip. Now when you weave, at the beginning, I think it's really easy. Let me see if you can see this. You need to pick up one, leave one, pick up one, leave one. So I'm going to pick up a strip, leave one down. Pick up a strip, leave one down. So you're picking up every other strip of paper. And I can kind of hold them in my hand. See what I'm doing? I'm gathering them, every other strip. All right, so I picked them all up. Now I take my other color, right here, the blue one, and I put it on top. Now I can let them drop. Now comes the time you really want to pay attention to, and that's sliding up the strip all the way till it touches right against that tape. It's so, so important, guys. You really need it to touch that tape. Okay, so let me stand up here. You can see it's touching the tape right across. Now I don't want this to move, and because I'm looking at the back of my masking tape, I know that this tape I'm going to tear right now isn't going to show. So at the top of the blue, please, only at the top. Don't go past the top. Stay away from the bottom. Only at the top of that strip, you can add 2 little pieces to keep it snug and safe. Don't go near the bottom. You're going to tape your strips, your hula strips together, and it's going to cause a big mess. Okay, so there's that. Now take your other paper again. Cut a nice strip with no splintery edges. Okay, now here's the important part to remember. The first time I did it, I lifted up this strip. Okay, I lifted it up. Now, boys and girls, you have to lift up the other one. Oh, okay. Okay, lift up the other one that you just did. Okay, now we lift up the other ones. So I'm going to skip one, lift one, skip one, lift one. It has to be the exact opposite that you just did. All right, so here's the opposite that I just did. They're in my hand. I take my other paper, I put it under there, and I drop them. This is the cool part. Watch what happens. Slide it up. I have no fingernails, so it's kind of tricky for me to slide it up. And make sure, just like the tape, make sure that it touches the other one. Even if you leave a little bit of room between strips, it's going to cause you mega problems. So slide it up until it's tucked up right against there, right against, just like this. I'm going to tuck it even more. Now again, I'm working on the back so I can tape it. Okay. So now it's touching the other one. There's no room in between strips. Touching so tight. I can take a little bit of tape, and again, at the top of the strip, top, I can tape it. As long as it's on the top, it's not going to tape my strips together. I'll save that little itty bitty piece there and there. So it's the same thing. You have to alternate. Whichever ones you lifted up last time, that's the other one that you do. So this time I would lift up that one. It's opposite. You have to go opposite to make this checkerboard illusion here. And here's my front. Ah, beautiful. Okay, so I'll do a few more strips and check in. All right, I've almost been halfway down. Now at this point, it could be easier for you to take the strip in your hand and lift up the strip and then tug it through. So I'm lifting up the next one, sliding it over. Again, this is when fingernails are important. Ooh. So it's just over, under, over, under. So now I have to go under, over, under, over, under, over, under, okay, so then I slide it up. You have to make it tight every time, guys. You have to make sure it's, see how it's like not to the edge? Grab it and pull it to the edge. And then slide it up with your fingernails. Push, push, push. It's not even to the edge yet. I'm going to pull a little bit more. Okay. Now it's all the way up. I'm going to take some tape. Now I think I even want to tape the middle. As long as I'm at the top of the strip, I can tape it and it won't make a difference. All right, so go ahead and do all, oh, look how cool that looks. Do all of your weaving. All right, boys and girls. Now I have woven pretty much to the end. I feel like it's really hard to keep my strips from slipping out right now. If you want to go to the end, that's fine. What I like to do to match my top right here is I'd like to take the same tape I used. Okay, so I'm using masking tape. And when I feel like it's done, I line it up right at the bottom of my last weaving right here. So I tape those down. I can cut off my edges. And below my tape, I can cut that up right off too. Like this. Like I'm going to cut all of those off. And now I have, wait till you see this. Oh, how cool does that look? I love it. All a woven checkerboard. It looks amazing. I love it, and I hope you guys had fun too. Great job.